I'm going to start off this video by saying that the Harman Kardon Fly ANCs have great build quality and they sound really good as well. But unfortunately, these headphones just have a lot of squandered potential, and ultimately these headphones are just a reskinned version of the JBL Live650BTNCs, which came out almost a year ago. But now, I'm just starting to wonder, what on earth is Harman thinking? Because these headphones and the JBL Club 950NCs, which I reviewed a few weeks ago, are going to have a really hard time competing in today's super competitive ANC headphone market. And for those who may not know, JBL is a sub-brand of Harman, and Harman is owned by Samsung. So first off, there's price. These headphones retail for $250. That's a $50 price bump from the JBL Live650BTNCs, on which these headphones are based off of, which retail for $200. And for $50 more, you're basically just getting some build quality and included accessories improvements. Nonetheless, I do feel these headphones are overpriced, so if you are looking for some mid-tier or entry-level headphones, I'll leave some better options down below. Now, one of the biggest differences between these headphones and the cheaper JBLs is that the Fly ANCs come included with a hard shell carrying case, whereas the JBLs only come included with a carrying pouch. And this carrying case is very similar to the case that comes included with the Sony 1000 XM3s. And I'll definitely give props where props are due, because there are plenty of other $250 and even $300 headphones out there that don't come included with a hard shell carrying case. Now, when it comes to the headphones themselves, build quality wise, these headphones are great. They feel very sturdy in the hand and they have zero cracking or squeaking whenever you flex them. But what really makes these headphones stand out is that almost every surface that you touch is covered in leatherette. The outer portion of these ear cups are covered in leatherette and the entire headband is covered in leatherette. And since this leatherette actually feels very nice, when you hold these headphones, they just feel very premium. But when it comes to fit, unfortunately, these headphones are not my favorite. First off, these headphones have a lot of clamping force, making them not big head approved. And I've even tried stretching this headband out a few times, but they just retain all of their clamping force. But let's say that you have a smaller head. I still wouldn't recommend these headphones because their ear pads are very cramped. Now, these ear pads have a lot of depth to them, but they are significantly less roomy than the Sony XP900N or the Surface headphones 2. So as a result, these ear pads both rest on my earlobes and push down on my cartilage. Now, I like to think that I have average-sized ears, so definitely if you have larger ears or ears that stick out a lot, then you'll want to stay away from these. But now let's talk about tech specs. Personally, I was dumbfounded when I realized that these headphones are still charging via a micro USB port instead of a USB-C port, which is basically the industry standard these days. And for some people, that might actually be a deal breaker, especially if you're an Android user. Now, when it comes to battery life, these headphones are trailing behind a little bit, but they will definitely get the job done. They have an advertised battery life of 20 hours with their ANC turned on, but you can always extend their battery life out to 30 hours if you use them with their ANC turned off. Now, when it comes to Bluetooth connectivity, these headphones are using Bluetooth 4.2, but more importantly, they can be connected to two devices at the same time, so you can easily hot swap from one device to another, which is always great for power users. And when it comes to watching movies or videos on your phone, these headphones have zero latency to them on both iPhone and Android devices if you're using them with apps like Netflix, Disney Plus, or HBO Max. But they do have a slightly noticeable latency to them whenever you're using them to watch YouTube videos on both an iPhone or an Android device. But now let's talk about listening to music with these headphones. I actually really like how these headphones sound. They kind of sound like the Bose NC700s, but with punchier resonating bass. These headphones put an emphasis on vocals, and the bass on these headphones is purely the resonating kind. Meaning that you're going to hear your bass, but it's not going to physically rattle your head all that much, like the bass on Sony headphones do. Now, even though the bass on these headphones doesn't physically rattle your head, it still resonates very deep and clean. Now, yeah, you could always go into these headphones app and adjust your EQ, but no matter how much you raise their bass, they're still not going to physically rattle your head. So for that reason, these headphones are better for people who like a neutral or vocals focused EQ. But nonetheless, the instrument separation and soundstage on these headphones is rather impressive as well. Now, when it comes to controlling your media on these headphones are using physical buttons. And overall, I don't really have any complaints here. They're easy to find, easy to tell apart, and they have great tactile feedback. But these headphones do have a touchpad on the left ear cup, which simply serves as a dedicated voice assistant button that you can press and hold to talk to your assistant, or you can tap to quickly just get a readout of your notifications. But this touchpad doesn't actually recognize any gestures like most other headphones out there that have a touchpad. But now let's talk about the active noise cancellation on these headphones. For mid-tier ANC headphones, it's pretty decent. Now, first off, yes, the ANC does change how your music sounds, but very slightly. The bass won't resonate as deep and they don't sound as open, but the difference is very minute. But nonetheless, I do prefer to listen to music with these headphones with their ANC turned off. But when it comes to the cabin pressure on these headphones, they don't have all that much cabin pressure, which is really good. And like I said, for mid-tier ANC headphones, these headphones block out an appropriate amount of noise. But so that you can see for yourself, we're going to jump into an ANC test.
Noise cancelling. Noise cancelling.
So, like you may have just seen, these headphones block out a good amount of noise for mid-tier ANC headphones. These headphones do a slightly better job of blocking out both road noise and chatter than the Sony Watcha 710N, but just as you'd expect, the Sony 1000 XM3s block out way more noise. But regardless, I still maintain the ANC on these headphones is decent because it doesn't really change how your music sounds. They have very little cabin pressure, and they also do a really good job of blocking out wind noise when you're walking outdoors. Now, even though the active noise cancellation on these headphones is respectable, unfortunately, these headphones don't have an ambient mode. Now, the $200 JBL Live650BTNCs on which these headphones are based on also don't have an ambient mode. But once you hit that $250 price point, an ambient mode on headphones is a rather standard feature. Whereas with $200 headphones, not a lot of headphones have an ambient mode, but more headphones in that price range are starting to come with an ambient mode. Like, for example, the Sony Watcha 710Ns. But ultimately, I do feel that these $250 headphones not having an ambient mode is a pretty big deal.
But finally, here's a microphone test. Now, overall, the microphone on these headphones isn't the best, but it is usable. I do sound a little far away, but I think I sound good enough for like a quick phone call. Now, I do have this AC unit turned on because I want to show off what kind of a job this microphone does, isolating my voice from any ambient noise you might have around you. And, this microphone does an okay job of blocking out that AC unit.
Because if we were to switch over to my lapel microphone, you're going to clearly hear that AC unit.
But if we switch back over to the Fly ANCs, they block out some of it.
But with all that being said, even though I like the build quality on these headphones, I like how they sound, and I also feel that they have decent active noise cancellation, for me, it's very hard to recommend these headphones for a few reasons. First off, these headphones are pretty uncomfortable because they have a lot of clamping force and their ear pads are pretty cramped. These headphones are also using micro USB for charging instead of USB-C, which is pretty much the standard these days. But then there's also the matter that these headphones don't have an ambient mode, which is also a pretty standard feature for headphones in this price range these days. So unfortunately, these headphones are DOA, and I really feel that Harman has got to step it up if they want to compete in today's increasingly competitive ANC headphone market. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit that like button and get subscribed. It helps out more than you realize. If you want to pick any of the products up mentioned in this video, those will be linked in the description down below, and you can also support the channel by checking out the merch store. But other than that, I'll catch you next time.